Hello and welcome to another video, and today I thought I'd mix things up a little bit. I've been doing all the regular review videos for a long time, and when I started the channel I actually did a mixture of the reviews plus some other stuff, and honestly I kind of miss it, and I really want to do some different things alongside the reviews, which for better or worse I enjoy, but they're also frustrating due to copyright, but it is what it is. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do what I've wanted to do for a while and start doing some reviews for some physical media releases. So I want to do some of the releases that came out this year when this is recorded. And hey, if you guys like these videos, I'll go back and do some of the older releases as well. So in 2023, so we finally saw the release of a new Looney Tunes short set and via Warner Archive, which is a pretty big deal for many reasons. This will be telling you my age, but there was a time where we had heaps of shorts being released on physical media. Not even just Warner's, we're talking also Disney and some of the other studios. We even had Woody Woodpecker sets. Yeah, so there was a lot of things being released. And then in 2013, that was it. Poof, done. No more, nothing else to be released. That's it, the shop's closed. And that information comes from Jerry Beck, by the way, and he's said that many times. So originally, you had the Looney Tunes Golden Collection. That was 6 volumes of 4-disc DVD sets. Then you had the Platinum Collection, which was 3 volumes of 2-disc DVDs or Blu-rays, though the Blu-rays had an extra disc on the first 2 volumes. So the first one had a dedicated Chuck Jones disc, and the second one had a dedicated Tex Avery disc. But alongside all of that, you've also had the Looney Tunes Superstars sets, and that has an interesting history on its own, and I'd love to cover that one day. It started off as a family-friendly sort of release run, but some of it was cropped, and it was just all over the shop. But by the end of it, though, it was interesting because they released Pepe Le Pew, so the entire filmography, and they released Hippity Hopper, again, the entire filmography. So we thought, oh, okay, they're gonna start doing that more, and they're going to start releasing entire runs. Maybe there'll be an Tex Avery disc, maybe there'll be a Frizz Frilly Merry Melody set, that kind of thing. So that's the sort of thing that we were sort of hoping for, but then, it stopped. That was it. So after a while, we had Warner Archive release the Bugs Bunny Superstar DVD, and that was actually quite solid, and that's actually one of my first introductions into Looney Tunes history, and that one even had a great audio commentary, which was interesting, by the director. I definitely wouldn't mind covering that one day, but basically, that, just on DVD, again, I'm cool with that. I may be a high-def Blu-ray and 4K collector, but hey, DVD is still fine with me in certain cases. But thanks to the efforts of Jerry Beck, so we ended up getting, finally, something new, which was the Porky Pig 101 set. DVD only, again, not complaining. I want these things on disc, and if I have to settle for DVD in certain cases, so be it, I don't care. But just to show how things dire really were at that time, when that set was made, it was made with next to no budget, so that meant for the shorts that were not released prior on the Golden Collections, they were just basic unrestored scans, and some even had the wrong title music, that kind of thing. So things that really couldn't be fixed too much unless they had a bigger budget. It is what it is. Now, I'm not going to bag on that set. Personally, I actually like that set a lot, despite the flaws. And it's a great idea. 101 Porky Pig shorts on one set, which basically highlights his main time as the star before Bugs Bunny took that over. But it would be nice if they did an update to that, of course. But as it is, it's still a nice little set. Now, after that, we had the Popeye color releases. So we had the Popeye 1940s Volume 1, then 2, then 3, and that showed that there was a hunger for this sort of stuff. There was definitely interest. I mean, after all, if the first volume failed, they wouldn't have made any more, right? And then we had the Tex Avery ones, which, I mean, by its very nature, I think would have sold a lot better than the Popeyes, right? And again, there were a few flaws in those sets, but ultimately there were still fantastic releases and long overdue, considering the amount of work that had to go into those. And then you had Warner Home Video proper. They finally released something, and that was the wonderful Bugs Bunny 80th set. Yeah, it had that pop vinyl in it. Whatever, I don't care. As long as it's got the tunes in there, don't care. So it's a 3-disc set, and it even had this nice feature-length documentary that was in there, which serves as a fantastic primer for those. Well, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who Bugs Bunny is, but it's a great primer for those wanting to know the history of the character. And that used some previously restored shorts, but also had some newly restored shorts. And the big highlight to that set was the restoration for What's Cooking Doc. And I've been wanting that for so long. And finally, it happened. And yeah, it looks fantastic. You wouldn't have known that there were problems in restoring it, as again, Jerry Beck what he's mentioned before. And then HBO Max comes around, which is a streaming service now known as Max, unless they change it again after I do this recording, but anyway. And they had a few hundred of these Looney Tunes shorts there, among other things. They had MGM stuff, they even had HD versions of Flintstones and so many other things. It was interesting because they had so many new restorations, and they, over the course of the first year in operation, they released more and more restorations. It's like they had just about the same amount, give or take, that they released on the Golden collections in terms of volume. So there was like heaps there. And for the most part, they looked really, really good. And of course, the elephant in the room there is the Photoshop titles, and I will definitely get into that because it does kind of come up within this review. But hey, at least we had some new stuff, which was great, and it looked pretty good. And we got something new, but even imperfect at times. But again, things then start slowing down a little bit, no doubt due to COVID. Things can't be helped. I mean, that's why the Tex Avery Volume 2 set had its issues, but anyway, we had a few more restorations via the Me TV television station in the United States, which I can't see where I am, and even then, I'm not big on TV as such anymore. I just watch stuff on disc or whatever I have on streaming in my own time, but it's still a great channel introducing hopefully a new generation to these wonderful cartoons, and of course it has my full support, even if I myself am not into watching television in that way anymore. And then after that, we had the Tweety anniversary and we had the Daffy Duck anniversary, and people thought that, hey, the Bugs Bunny set came out, so where are these sets? But no, they didn't come about, which is a missed opportunity, especially for the Tweety one, because I think there's only one or two shorts that would have questionable stuff in it, and they could have released the rest of it. Or heck, they could have just buried it. I mean, there were a few questionable things here and there on that Bugs Bunny set, but anyway. But yeah, it didn't happen. What can you do? That time's passed. I have to wait for the next anniversary for that, and by then, my kids will be in high school. And then earlier this year, or even late last year, or thereabouts anyway, in 2023, there was this mysterious listing that said Looney Tunes Collector's Choice, and there was this whole speculation, like, what is this? And a lot of the pessimists out there were like, oh yeah, this is probably just going to be a rehash of discs from the Platinum Collection or the Gold Collection or whatever, because, to be fair, there was so much repackaging happening of those old sets, and it was definitely out of hand, especially as streaming started taking over. All these repackaging became kind of pointless anyway. But sure enough, it was announced, and a lot of us were like, wow, we were just stunned. It was like, hey, finally, we're going to get a new release here. Fantastic. And they even announced, hey, there is Yogi Bear. And at the time of this recording, the UPA film Gay Paris has come out as well, and I'll be definitely wanting to cover that one. I'm pretty sure there's more to come, but of course it's going to depend on sales of these particular releases. This particular release, which is, of course, what I'm holding in my hand right here. So it's a 1-disc Blu-ray short, let's see here, and it's 20 new shorts. So basically they're all new to disc, but restored. A few of them had been on disc before, but unrestored. So basically they're all new to disc, restored, and not even upgrades from DVD to Blu-ray in terms of restoration, like if it was restored for the Golden Collection or whatever. Most of these were already restored for streaming, but there were two that totally new restorations that had not been seen before, and one of which is one of people been begging for so many years, because it is a pretty notable short in the Bugs Bunny filmography. And here's the thing, when it comes to streaming, I mean, you might be looking at this going, well, okay, well, 2 new restorations, big whoop. But here's the thing, in order for streaming to work, especially because there's so many places that still have inadequate internet, which is an absolute crime in 2023, It's only now in Australia that they're finally adding a lot more fiber optic cable around, and people are starting to be able to move towards the idea of having gigabit internet. Thankfully, where I am, I can get gigabit internet if I wanted to. It's just pricey right now. But still, it's not a reality for most people. So what do they have to do? They have to compress these files in order to be able to send it through so you'll be able to watch it in decent quality. And then there's algorithms on the streamer's end, which adjust the quality as the internet signal, bounces up and down, as it pretty much does if you don't have a stable fiber connection. For most people, it's fine. They'll look at the quality and go, yeah, it looks pretty good, and it does. There's nothing wrong with it. But seeing these shorts uncompressed on disc, and you get more details, and the color I find is that little bit better as well. There's not a night and day difference here. There really isn't. And even if you put them side by side, people will be like, so what? I mean, I can see the difference, but hey, I like to have the best possible quality on these things, and the disc, there's no competition as far as I'm concerned. And I can go on and on about bit rates. A 4K stream on Netflix is like 18 meg per second, and a 4K disc can have 60 to 80 meg per second, full uncompressed sound and all this stuff. But no, I'm going to stay focused on the tunes here. I'm not going to go into bit rates on this video any longer. So, what exactly is in this set? So as I mentioned, you get 20 shorts, and those shorts are Beanstalk Bunny, Catch as Cats Can, The Unruly Hare, His Bitter Harp, Daffy Doodles, Cracked Quack, Little Orphan Airedale, Hip Hip Hurry, Hot Rod and Reel, Greedy for Tweety, Stooge for a Mouse, A Mouse Divided, A Fractured Leghorn, Plop Goes the Weasel, Tale of Two Mice, The Foxy Duckling, Two Gophers from Texas, Doggone Cats, What's Bruin Bruin, and The Bedevil Bruin. Now, I'm not going to go into the shorts themselves and give my thoughts on each one because I've actually reviewed most of them. Got a few more to go. I definitely want to discuss about the grouping here because it's an interesting mix, and you get a decent variety here of both the main characters in the Looney Tunes stable. So you get a few Bunnies, a few Daffies, Foghorn here, and so on. But you also get a decent variety of the B characters, or quote-unquote B characters. So you got Three Bears, Goofy Gophers, and Charlie Dog. Everyone's going to have their different opinions on which shorts in this grouping are better than others, but I think it works better doing it this way than having, say, that People at Pew set, which I'm not saying it's a bad set, but try watching those one after another, and they get very repetitive, very fast. Hibbity Hopper Collection, slightly more variety, but generally speaking, yeah, it's the same thing because you've basically got the same director doing mostly one or two characters, and that's pretty much it. And I find these shorts are way better to watch when you have a variety of different shorts, and of course by different directors as well. And that's why even Porky 101 and the Bugs 80th collection have mainly the one main character. The different directors and their approaches to whatever character they're directing gives those sets a nicer variety. So in the end, you're going to like some shorts more than others in any grouping like this, and I think it's a nice group. These aren't maybe my absolute favorite shorts going through this list, but they're very solid, they're funny. I've shown a few of them to my kids, they love it, especially Doggone Cats and Catch as Cats Can with the weird Sylvester in those ones. But anyway, it's still a pretty solid collection, and hey, if more's to come, maybe the ones that didn't go in this set that you'd like, maybe on that one. So there's plenty more that needs to be put on these sets. So let's talk about the picture quality. So you've got shorts from the 40s and 50s, so of course the picture quality of the shorts will be a little, but in terms of restorations, these shorts just pop. And a lot of it's to do with the fact that they're pretty much unpressed compared to streaming, and they're just fantastic. Two of the shorts that have been restored for this release, and they are Beanstalk Bunny and Catch as Cats Can. And I tell you, after watching the washed out Laserdisc versions for these shorts for ages, which, look, for the time, they were good enough. And Laserdisc, yeah, lower quality, but TVs weren't high def or anything, and it was good enough. But they're definitely not good enough for today. So these restorations are a revelation, and I've been told that Beanstalk had plenty of issues which prevented release on disc, like damaged film reels, and by watching this restoration, you wouldn't know it. It's that good. I don't know what wizards they have on staff they will want to archive, but the results here are incredible. Yeah, if you look closely, you can see in certain spots, like if you look really closely, you can see maybe they have to use an inferior element here and there, but whatever. Whatever. I'd rather that than nothing, okay? And they still did a fantastic job, and that certainly was not a put down, but it's just interesting to see what they have to do in order to make these releases such high quality. And the other restored short, it's a bit of an oddball one, catch as cats can, but I'm loving the fact that they're giving some of these more oddball, lesser known shorts, especially Art Davis. I think Art Davis, when it comes to restoring his shorts, he's been a bit neglected, and I think he's an underrated director as well. Not all his works are perfect or anything, but I think he definitely needs to be given his due. I think also Norm McCabe is the other director that they need to really start restoring some more of his stuff. And again, the colors pop, and yeah, they look like film as well, and with all the film grain left intact as they should be, because they were made and shot on cells and transferred to film. These days, it's all digital, so of course, no grain, but these weren't, so there needs to be some film grain, otherwise you lose some of the detail. And as for the others, yeah, they're already restored for streaming, and they're repurposed here. However, with the Looney Tunes, these restorations already look pretty good, and aside from the titles, which again I'll get to in a moment, these look just as good as anything that came out on the Platinum Collection sets. And some people have said that they didn't see any grain, like there was some concern over that, but you can, looking at this on disc, you can see that there is grain. If you want to archive these restorations themselves, maybe they might have left in a little bit more grain, they might have maybe tweaked things here and there, maybe they tweaked a few things here without me realizing it, but look, honestly, it's such a minor point. Now, yes, there is the issue of the Photoshop titles, so just to let you guys know, when those streaming restorations came out, a lot of the shorts had Photoshop titles, so it appears that they were Photoshopped in a way so that those watching the shorts zoomed in, so when they zoom in the 16:9 frame, they can still see all the credits. It's either that or they thought it was going to be easier and cheaper, and a few of the Photoshop titles couldn't tell. But then you got others where there was just all these messy little glitches from the Photoshop not done properly. So on this set, they actually did fix most of it, and there's a few that didn't have it fixed up for whatever reason, and there's 4 of them, so you got His Bitter Half, Davy Doodles, Cracked Quack, and Hip Hip Hurry. Now, is it a big deal? Like, is it really disappointing? A little, but is it that big a deal? No, not really. But it's there, and I'd rather give you guys all the facts that that is the case, but this really shouldn't deter you from getting the set if you haven't already. So the audio, it's a mixed bag because, let's face it, there's no surprise there. You got shorts of different vintage, so of course the newer shorts are going to sound better than others, but here it's presented in DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 Mono, as it should. You're not going to have these shorts redone in Dolby Atmos or anything. It'd be completely pointless. Though, I'd like to see someone try, just for the heck of it, like for What's Up or Doc, just to see how that would come across. Just as an experiment, nothing more. But I'm just glad they're not using a lossy format like Dolby Digital Plus, and that's the sort of thing that they use in streaming to, once again, save on bandwidth. Now, there's no extras, and it's not really a surprise. There's so much effort that had to have been gone through just to have this release given a go-ahead. It would have been nice to have a few maybe audio commentaries with, say, Jerry Beck and George Feldstein, or maybe a small piece on the restoration of Beanstalk Bunny and what they had to go through to get that done. But in the end, these things do cost money, and getting the shorts on disc is the #1 priority. I'd rather have that over the extras. Extras are welcome. The Golden Collection is still one of the gold standards as far as I'm concerned for animation releases when it comes to extras that were put on those sets, even on Volume 6, where they actually cut back a little. But if you do want an extra of sorts, you need to check out the Extras podcast. It's a fantastic podcast. If you love want to archive, not even just for the animation, but also for all the work they actually do on the, in some cases, lesser known movies. Sometimes there are movies that are more well known, but the major studio, for whatever reason, release it. But definitely check out that podcast so you can learn about upcoming releases, and they discuss releases as they go along. At the time of this recording, they even released an episode regarding Gay Puri, which just came out. So I'm definitely looking forward to listening to that one. There is an episode discussing this release where host Tim Miller chats with Jerry Beck and George Feldenstein about this release, and it's a great podcast. Great episode, definitely check it out. So it's definitely a good extra. In fact, there are some similar things in regards to a podcast regarding the Tex Avery sets, but I'll cover that when I get to those if you guys want me to. So, all in all, so this is a fantastic and much needed release in order to reach the goal of having the whole Looney Tunes library restored. And the price is right. I mean, it's pretty much $1 a short. In fact, I even saw at one point it was like 50 cents a short. I mean, that's a bargain for what you're getting here, an absolute bargain. And yeah, who cares? Photoshop titles, whoop-de-doo, fine, disappointing, whatever. But I'm sure if a new volume was to come out, they will learn any lessons from this particular release and move forward, because I'm pretty sure that was not their intention to have any errors on the set. No one wants errors on the set. It's happened, whatever. You learn from it, you move on. So I'll finish by asking, what do you want to see in future volumes should they happen? Is there a specific short you'd like to see finally on disc that's not on disc currently? That's one of your favorite shorts, such as, in my case, Buddy's Bearcats? Yet, of course, but I mean, that should be released, and I know that there has been high-definition prints out there, which I have, but it'll be nice to have a proper restoration, like the other Buddies that have been restored. Now, I personally would love to see the series go forward as multi-disc sets, and since they've used the streaming restorations here that look just as good as well, they already have a few hundred shorts just about ready to go. Fix up the titles, tweak things here and there, maybe re-restore 1 and 2 if there were any issues. I'm oversimplifying here, but it's not as though they all need to be fully redone like a lot of the MGM shorts where they just look way too dark on a lot of streaming services. And we're talking like the Bunny Bear shorts, and even some of the Tex Avery ones actually were redone for Tex Volume 3 because they just weren't done properly on streaming. It's not like Jerry and George are getting any younger either. I mean, heck, when the Golden Collection came out, I was in university, and now I'm considered middle-aged. So you need to get cracking, get these things out. So I think a multi-disc set will definitely help, but whether it's 2, 3, 4 discs, whatever. But if they can't, I'm sure there's reasons why, but that would be something I'd like to see personally. And as for shorts, specifically I'd like to see the unreleased Tex Avery shorts like Cinderella Meets Fella and The Dangerous Dan McFoo, and I want to see them finally get a disc release, and they've been restored and they look great. Or, sorry, I'll do it in my kid voice, they look amazing. Oh, it's awful. But anyway, where's Matt Hunter? Impersonation's better than me, but anyway. And you can mix in the less popular stuff too, like the early Freeze Merry Melodies, which I think deserve to be rediscovered. I'm rediscovering them now through my channel through these restorations, and look, they're not going to be among my favorites, but they look absolutely gorgeous. The 2-strip Technicolor ones especially, they look absolutely amazing. And Beauty and the Beast, that looks really, really good in the restoration that's currently available, but not on disc. And there are even a few shorts here and there, for whatever reason, have slipped through the cracks, and one good one that comes to mind is 1955's Pappy's Puppy. So, why that one hasn't been restored yet, I don't know. Either the same case like Beanstalk Bunny, or was it just overlooked? But there's one, and I'm sure there's a few others here and there that haven't been restored, but probably haven't, maybe due to racial stereotypes or whatever. And I'll be curious to see how they're going to address the more racially insensitive shorts in these releases should they continue on, but I'm sure they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. Yeah, let's get all the other stuff out at least, and we can go from there. But also let me know which of the shorts on this set are your favorite too. I definitely want to know. But that'll do it for this video, and if you want to see more of this sort of stuff, let me know. So, till next time, take care.